So India and Canada are on a warpath. Will trade be caught in the crossfire? Ottawa was asked this question, and it said that it will be business as usual, that economic relations will not be affected. But in this current environment, is that even possible? How big is the India-Canada bilateral trade? Which items are likely to be affected? Could this escalate into a trade war? And which economy will suffer more in the event of a trade war? Our next report tells you.
India-Canada relations are at an all-time low. There have been harsh statements, diplomats have been expelled, there's no sign of resolution. So what's next? Will all of this impact more than just political ties? Will it impact bilateral trade? Canada says that it's unlikely. Its international trade minister is trying to reassure Canadian businesses, especially those with ties to India. Mary Ng issued a statement talking about the uncertainty. She said the government will continue to support economic ties between the two countries. So Canada says trade won't be affected. It will be business as usual. But if things do get bad, what's on the line? To understand that, let's look at India and Canada's trade relationship. The bilateral trade is worth around $8 billion. That's less than 1% of India's total global trade. Since 2017, India has increased exports to Canada. The trade deficit was $2 billion then, and now it's down to $0.7 billion. What about foreign investment? In 20 years, Canada has invested $3.6 billion in India. That's around 0.5% of India's total FDI. Over 600 Canadian companies and organizations have a presence in India. So trade isn't as significant. But there are a few crucial items. First on the list is pulses. India buys a lot of lentils from Canada. In fact, 25% of India's pulse import is just from Canada. This year it was worth around $930 million. So pulses are important. After all, they are a staple here in India. But it's not just New Delhi that will be hurt if there's a trade war. Canada will feel the pinch too. Its farmers produce 1.5 million tons of lentils, and India buys a major bulk of that. Another important item on the list is potash. It's a very important fertilizer. In 2022, India signed a deal with Canada to import potash. Under this, New Delhi would buy 1.5 million tons of potash. And it's crucial because India imports a total of 4 million tons of potash every year. So Canada provides a significant chunk of that. This was a 3-year agreement. It hasn't been affected by this diplomatic crisis. Other imports include asbestos, copper, minerals and industrial chemicals. So that's the imports. And what does India export to Canada? Well, it's a mix of items. These are the top 5. Pharma products, organic chemicals, iron and steel, gems and jewelry and electricals. In 2022, both India and Canada even explored the idea of a free trade agreement. Talks began in the month of March. They continued until July 2023. There were as many as 9 rounds of talks. Things were looking good until the Canadian Prime Minister accused India. India has since called off those talks. It's unlikely to resume them anytime soon. In the current situation, Canada has more to lose if things go south. Now Ottawa says trade won't be affected, but political standoffs inevitably affect trade ties. There may be no official bans or restrictions, but traders remain wary. Businesses want to steer away from trouble and seek safer options. In the case of India and Canada, things will be no different.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.